Salute to all the Patreon members, all the new subscribers, all the new viewers. I want to thank you guys for your support. It really means a lot to me. Hit the like button, share this video. Check out the link in the description box below for the Patreon page. In this video, in this series we're doing on how to move in Thailand, part 4, finding your tribe. All right. So now you become acclimated. Your jet lag is finally over. You're getting into a routine schedule. You're able to wake up in the morning now instead of at night. And you're starting to go out, meet people, whether you're meeting people when you're at the nightclub, you're meeting people at your university, your school that you're a student at, or you're meeting people at work, or you're meeting people online. A lot of people tend to want to find, well, naturally, a lot of people want to find their tribe, all right, when they go not only just to Thailand, but when they go overseas, all right. And by the way, this is a this picture is AI, all right. This guy's outfit, he has an American flag on his head with USA on his shirt. Most people wouldn't wear that. They wouldn't wear that, right? They'll wear one or the other. Most of the time, like they'll probably wear a USA shirt, but they won't have the matching American flag hat. So I'm just letting you off top know this is a this is AI, and plus Succumbit Road doesn't look like that. All right, there's not a dead end to Succumbit Road like this. Anyways, when people arrive to a foreign country, oftentimes people are curious about meeting other like-minded people, connecting with others who you can share similar stories with. You know, a lot of people that say, man, you know, I was tired of this, tired of that. So I just sold everything and came to Thailand. Yeah, I'm not making as much as I used to, but I'm getting by with no problems and I feel free. I can dress how I want, walk how I want, talk how I want, openly find interesting things to explore without being judged like how I was back home. And I might find some people along the way to share these experiences with. I've heard people say this before. I can do things how I want to do it out here. Yes and no. But I know what they're saying. I know what they're trying to say. At the end of the day, that's wishful thinking. You know, to find and meet people like yourself. And yes, there are plenty of people that do meet people with a common interest overseas in Thailand. However, a lot of times you run into real nutcases, okay? Local nutcases, people that are natives to the country that are nutcases, foreign nutcases with weird fetishes, drug addicts, drug dealers, criminals. I did a story on 2 guys from Europe who got into a shootout on Succumbit Road. One of them owned a butcher shop, and he was a very popular butcher in Bangkok. Like he would pretty much like he would sell his meat to all of the high-end restaurants and grocery stores around Thailand. Like, well, he was he had to been making a lot of money, just making money hand over fist doing this, and he out here getting into shootouts with other foreigners on the main strip in Thailand. You know, you meet sociopaths, extremists, people with a weird sense of entitlement, sellouts, degenerates, backstabbers, people with major insecurities about themselves, people with hidden cameras secretly recording people on the street, etc. and etc. These are all types of characters in Thailand. There's all types of characters in Thailand, and you really have to choose your friends wisely. The mental instability of others will turn someone who started off being social into a quiet hermit, right? Somebody will start off as a social butterfly, open minded, interested in meeting new people, trying new things. Now, all of a sudden, you know, after spending some time at the workplace, after spending some time at their university, at their job, now they're a hermit. They don't want to talk to nobody. I've seen this many times. I remember one time I was working at this the school, right? Excuse me. And there was a guy. All right, so in the office, it was everybody with teachers. It was a pretty decent sized office with a bunch of teachers in there. And when you work close with people, you know, you start to build a certain level of attraction with each other, right? Some people might go to work and say, "Hey, I don't find anybody attractive there. I just think they're cool to talk to." Well, one guy started to become interested in another woman. The guy, he was a black American. He was from New York. The lady, she was Filipino. They started sitting in each other's classes, watching each other teach. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. They so instead of waiting in the office when you don't have a class, they would go into each other's classrooms when they weren't busy to watch each other teach. That's how much they liked each other. And of course, like there was another black woman in the office that didn't like it. So she started making up rumors about this brother that he was gay. The gay shaming tactic, like how sisters do in America all the time. How is this man gay or homosexual when he's interested in another woman, but it so happens to not be a black woman and not her? It's a Filipino woman. So how does this make him gay? And the person he's interested in is a woman. That's the kind of weird logic that a lot of women bring from America over to Thailand. And this is what becomes frustrating with a lot of people in Thailand. Remember, I did that live stream, I took it down, but I should do it over again. You remember the video I did about the black woman in TikTok who was upset about other brothers? She would see other black people, especially black men, on the strip or walking by. She would say hello, do a head nod, and nobody will respond back to her. Most black men have gone through that with black women for years. They just didn't say anything, right? And they didn't say anything to the point where they had to call out black women for doing it. They just kind of said, hey, this is just something that I noticed, right? Black women don't speak to you at all. And if you do end up crossing paths with them, they have a real nasty attitude towards you overseas. Most of them, not all, but 90% of them. So, she got caught out, rightfully so. And then her tweets, they pulled up her old tweets of her bashing black men. She had negative tweets about black men dating all the way back to 2018. So this woman entered into the kingdom of Thailand already with a negative disposition about black men, right? So I'm not against the people of social media calling her out for that. But here's the thing, Thailand is a no judgment zone. All right. It's supposed to be a no judgment zone. And you are messing up the harmony and the peace of this no judgment zone, right? You're judging another black man for getting with a Filipino woman. This is a no judgment zone. I didn't come to Thailand as a single man trying to date a woman of my own race. I wouldn't mind it. But 9 times out of 10, if he's looking for a woman, he's probably going to end up with an Asian woman. Doesn't have to be Thai, but I'm not bringing sand to the beach. If If I wanted to dated you, if I wanted to date you, I would date you back home. Now, there are people who meet others that are in the same race as them, and they just explore Thailand and other Asian countries together. They pool their money together. And I think that's a beautiful thing. If you look at this picture, you see, yes, this is AI, but this could actually be a real picture because I've seen this many, many times. That's how they dress. This is how people dress. They're dressed in um kind of just a relaxed attire, nothing too bright. They might purchase I know it's the wrong term. I don't know the proper term. The Thai genie pants that a lot of Caucasian women like to wear that they purchase off of the stalls at a market. The Thai genie pants. I don't know the proper term, but you know what I mean. Shorts, t-shirt, relaxed attire, right? This is a no judgment zone. So that story that I told you before, well, actually going back to what I was saying about this picture, you see this picture all the time in Thailand. Like you might go to a bar, a restaurant that predominantly a lot of foreigners like to go to, and you'll see white males, white women sitting around talking to each other, or a table full of white males, right? Sometimes you might see a table full of black women sitting with each other. Every once in a while, you might see brothers kicking it with each other, right? So there's nothing wrong with dating and traveling with somebody from your community, making money with each other, enjoying each other's company overseas. You see that a lot too. But you're out of school. This is a no judgment zone. You're out of school and you see a black man in Thailand interested in an Asian woman, and that woman is interested in him. But because you're not really the center of attention, probably, it's hard for you to date because people can get with whoever they want to get with. But to be objective, to be honest, I would say the number one person who finds it the most difficult to date, right? As far as the women, I can't speak for all the men, but for the women, it's the black woman going overseas to Asia. It's very difficult. And when you see somebody that looks like you of the opposite sex dating somebody that looks opposite of you, the first thing you want to do is put out rumors about him to others saying that he's gay. So one day, this brother just got tired of it. And, while everybody was sitting in the office, I wasn't there at the time, but he got up. It was basically like, hey, man, whoever got a problem with me saying something about me, talking about me behind my back, say it right now to my face so we can end this because I'm sick and tired of you making up rumors and this, that, and the third about me. Say it right now, and I'm telling you to knock it off, right? I'm paraphrasing what was said from what I heard. And that kind of put his lady on the spot because they ended up getting together. And that turned out to blossom into something beautiful because now the two of them are married and they have 3 kids. But this woman still works there. I saw her back in 2022. 2022, she was pregnant with their 3rd child. But again, this woman is still there at that school, at that company, and she doesn't speak to anybody. And people told me, it was like, hey, before they got together, she would always talk with people. She was very talkative. She would hang out with people during lunch, and she was very sociable. But after that incident, she doesn't speak to anybody anymore. She just keeps to herself. So this goes back to what I was saying. You know, the mental instability of others can back you into a corner to where you just like, hey, I'm gonna just be a quiet hermit and be a loner. All right. Uh, you know, and then some people like that one woman who I was talking about that put out those negative rumors about that brother. Um, they'll either leave and go back home or they'll end up being a loner. Some people end up being a loner, right? And being a loner is not always a bad thing. It doesn't mean that they have absolutely nobody around them. They just focus on themselves and whoever they're in a relationship with. They go to school, go to work, start up a conversation here and there with people, but they're not trying to link up with anyone from work or school in their personal lives. Sometimes they don't try to speak to anybody at work. Also, like I said, Thailand it's supposed to be a no judgment zone, right? Um, when you go there, you might see somebody often in your area, in your neighborhood, at your hotel, at your condo. It's a guy, you know, he has a girlfriend. You see him solid with a girlfriend for a couple of months. You might not see him with that girl anymore. Then he has other women. He goes through a streak of trying to get over that woman, dealing with other women. Then all of a sudden, you'll see him with, you know, a lady boy. Now he's bringing multiple lady boys over to his room. It's supposed to be a no judgment zone, right? You see a man out with his lady boy girlfriend, supposed to be a no judgment zone, right? And even if this were the case in America, I'm still not judging anybody who does that. You know, you can date with, whoever you want to date with. When I was in university in Thailand, I had a classmate. He was American. I forgot what state he was from. But for the first semester he was there, then we didn't see him in the summer. We didn't see him the second semester. But that next year, he showed back up to the university, to school, and he grew out his hair. He went under the knife and got all the things he wanted and needed to become a woman. I'll just put it that way. All right. So, and hey, man, it was kind of a shocker because he was always trying to. Here's the thing that was a shocker, because he was actively trying to date women that first semester that he was there. He also has some insecurities that he would just randomly talk about. He was insecure about being short. And I want to say this guy was probably like 5'5", 5'6", which in Thailand is like, look, man, that's you're not short compared to how short these other women are out here. You can find plenty of women under 5 feet to date. But he was very insecure about being short, and maybe he was just fighting, going through an internal fight on really wanting to express himself and knowing how to, being bold enough to express himself. So he came back the next year and he went full on trans. All right. I didn't care. Nobody cared. But I did notice, like, when he was quote unquote heterosexual the first year, that first semester, none of the girls wanted to hang out with him. None of the girls spoke to him at school. Right. And he wasn't fat. He wasn't a bad looking guy, whatever. But none of the girls wanted to speak to him. None of the girls hung out with him. When he came back a trans the next year, he had like a whole flock of girls as his like close friends from then on out. And I said, wow, That's very interesting. That's telling right there. And one of my homegirls at the school, she was Filipina. I told her that. I said, I noticed like the first semester he was here, none of y'all wanted to speak to him. Now look at him. Look, as he's walking, he was walking through the cafeteria. There were like 6 girls surrounding him, walking with him in a group, talking to him. What is that about? I wanted her take on it. She was like, yeah, because what did she say? She said, somehow like he's not a threat anymore. he's, he's not trying to get with us or something. I'm like, when men don't try hitting on you, you complain. When men don't hit on you, you complain. But now that somebody like is transitioning, now all of a sudden you want to be his friend. So I forgot how she worded it, talking about, yeah, it's not scary. He's not trying to get with us. We don't have to worry about him hitting on us or something like that. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't, no judgment. I just wanted to hear what she had to say about it. But I thought that was interesting. He's not a creep anymore. something along those lines. I was like, okay. But where was I? When I was at university, the largest group of foreign exchange students were students from China. From the outside looking in, it seemed like they naturally stuck together in everything they did. They sat next to each other in class, made their own group chat, separate from everyone else. They worked on projects and assignments with each other. But if any one of the girls would show interest in a guy that wasn't Chinese, so they showed interest in a guy that was Thai or American or Canadian, Japanese, or black, there was always like a male enforcer in the group that would check them for dating outside of the race. I've experienced that before. Afraid that they would get kicked out of their social circle and disowned from that group. And behind closed doors, you never know what it is that they're doing. Some of the things that they're calling them, and you can't really go to the office to report on it because the things they're calling you, it might be in Chinese. It's not really a protection mechanism for two foreigners beefing. They just come around after somebody gets really, really hurt. And oftentimes it's kind of like, okay, if both of y'all are still alive, then you go your way, you go your way. Do you want to file a report? No? Okay. Have a nice day. Try not to do it again. So there's really no protection mechanism for like a Chinese woman in Thailand against another Chinese man. Right? I mean, of course, if it's on school grounds, you can't take it that far. But off school grounds, hey, I don't know what to say. There was a girl, and I've told this story before. I still remember her name. I've told you guys, Chinese women, if you actually go to China, Chinese women got body. The women in China actually got body. She was one of those women from China who had body. Cute face. She started to mess around with her face after a while, getting plastic surgery and nose reductions and stuff done in her chin and her lip. I thought she looked good from before, but she started messing around with her face and putting in contacts that didn't look good and whatever. I'm talking about she had body. What E40 and the clique say, Clydesdale. She had Clydesdale legs, body, you name it. Really cute face. I still remember her name. And she was always like around me, trying to see what was up, trying to see Was I up to trying to link up with me outside of school? And a Chinese guy, I still remember his name. Both of them had foreign names. So they got their Chinese name and they got a foreign name. I remember their foreign names. This other guy out of like the Chinese social circle group, he didn't like that. Right. So when I wasn't around, he said something to her. So when I came back around the next day, she acted like I didn't even exist. That's just how it is. Hey, it don't matter, right? Like I still get mine, right? I'm still getting mine out there. I could, because I ended up with or in a relationship with a Thai woman that I've shown pictures of her. Well, not her face, but you know, her backside on this platform from before. But that's what a lot of people go through, especially of Asian culture. When I was at that school, you had the Vietnamese. There was a handful of them. They would stick with each other. The Chinese, they would stick with each other, and they have to go by the rules of their group. The Japanese, they're kind of on their own, but they even had to deal with some problems. I had a friend who I was in school with. I still remember his name and everything too. And he, there was a Japanese girl who was cute that was interested in a friend of mine who was Japanese. She made a move on him first. She like was interested in him first. And he was like, oh, okay, damn. Like she came on to me. She cute. All right, I'll oblige. Right. But there was another Japanese guy at the university who was kind of lurking in the corners, really trying to like his damnness to get with her. But she chose up on my friend instead. So what happened was my friend was like in the parking garage trying to go back home. And the other Japanese guy followed him into the parking garage and picked a fight with him over that girl. And my friend was kind of like, dude, like I don't, she cool, whatever, but she came on to me. Like, so the guy started trying to fight, but he couldn't fight. He had no hands. And he was trying to fight my friend. They got into a little tussle. Um, I didn't see it, but he explained it to me. Just really didn't have any hands. And what happened was towards the end of the fight, the guy threw a punch. Like he was throwing punches, wasn't really landing, but then he ended up throwing a punch at my friend, but he punched him in his forehead, like the hard part of his forehead. So my friend, he felt it a little bit, but it didn't really phase him. But what happened was like it broke the other guy's like hand, it broke his wrist, right? And he was in a lot of pain. Then he started screaming out like, "Stay the fuck away from him!" Yada yada yada. So he just kind of like, "All right, whatever, you can have her. I don't care." So I don't know what the guy who tried to get into a fight, who got into a fight with my friend, in that Japanese girl. I don't know what they went off and did. Right? I don't know if they went off and got married and had kids. I don't know what blossomed after that. I just know that my friend stayed away from that girl. He's just like, yeah, I ain't trying to fight over her. He goes, I got other girls, so I'm not worried about her. Like I wasn't actively pursuing her. She looked good. She came on to me, but you want her that bad, you can have her, right? So you're trying to find your tribe within your own culture, your own group. But look what happens. There's squabbling and bickering over diminutive things, right? And it's sad. And this turns people into loners. Um, I've seen Korean women go through this. I had a friend, he met he met a Korean girl off of a dating app. So they was like, well, I'm gonna bring my friends. My friend met another Korean guy off of a dating app so we can all hang together. So it was about four girls, two guys. My friend, he's a black American from Philly. And the the other guy, he was Korean. So they had some club, and my boy, he was chopping it up with the girls at the table, but he's kind of like the center of entertainment, like you would see in this picture right here, right? Kind of like, I mean, the club didn't look like this, but kind of like this, a much bigger table, but more girls. But there's two guys, and he's keeping the women entertained. They're laughing, they're smiling, but the other guy who was Korean, he was there for the other girl, but he started to get upset because the other girl just didn't seem interested in that guy anymore. And that was like her first time meeting him. So the Korean guy got up and left, went into a corner, and then he started texting that Korean girl while my homie and the other four girls were sitting at the table. And the text that he sent her was like, why would you invite me out to a spot if, you're going to ignore me and you're not going to show any real interest? What was the purpose of that? And then on top of that, you out here with this black, this black dude. Y'all seem real entertained by him as if y'all want him. You need to be with Koreans. Leave these blacks alone. They're this, they're that. You know better than be dealing with blacks. If this were back home, like I would have your ass for choosing a black over a Korean. And so that girl showed the phone and a text message to everybody at the table. So my homie was like, kind of shaking his head, like, oh, okay, whatever. That it is what it is. Like, what's new? The other girls, they were pissed off about that. So all four girls got up, walked over to where that Korean dude was in that club and started screaming at him, backed him in the corner, started talking crazy to him. And he just kind of like scooted his way out of the club. And all four girls came back to the table and hung out with my homie. Then my homie, he took old girl back to, his spot, and he basically goosed her, if you know what I mean. All right, they goosed. All right. So Korean women go through this same thing too. You want to attach yourself to a tribe, but your tribe is like, very controlling, narcissistic. I hate using that word, but I'm using that word. Hyper masculinity, wants you to follow very, very strict rules. And it's kind of like, man, I came out here for a sense of freedom. We don't have to go by those strict rules. I mean, yeah, I want to be with somebody of my own, but if my own is still carrying on like how they do back home, then I'll get with whoever I want to get with. So it's them and their homegirl versus everybody else. They do everything with each other, and now they're only dealing with foreigners. But you got to be careful. And then they bring their homegirl around. They never want to leave their homegirl by their side because they're vetting everybody with each other. You see what I'm saying? When people find a good solid circle of friends, they stick by them, but it's not easy. Not everyone is able to find their tribe, but like I said earlier, they're happy with enjoying Thailand by themselves. A lot of black males find it difficult finding their tribe too. You join a group chat, everyone is fighting and arguing and insulting each other for fun in the group. If it's a group full of black men, nobody seems to have a common interest in helping each other or building with each other, right? If it's a group on Facebook or a group chat, online or WhatsApp, and it's men and women, it's like a real aggressive liberal chat that's ran by women. Women are just they control every little conversation, the narrative, and everything. It's like you have to think exactly how they think in order to be in that group chat, or else you're disbanded, right? You're barred from the chat. If it's a group full of men and women, you have to think exactly how the women think, and you basically have to agree with everybody, all the women in that group chat. Any sense of masculinity in there, it'll be shut down and shamed, and they will ban you from the chat. Well, he doesn't agree with everything that we say. He doesn't talk like how we talk. He doesn't co-sign our talking points. Get him the fuck up out of here. That's how it is. All right. People who are biracial, they have it bad also. I've seen people who are half white, half Thai, receive love, and I've seen them receive a lot of hate also. Um, People that are half white, half Thai, they're very popular amongst Asians who are not Thai in Thailand, especially at a university. You'll see them popular with the Chinese, popular with the Vietnamese, popular with the Malaysians, popular with the Singaporeans, the Lao, the Cambodians, the Burmese, right? The Japanese. You'll see them popular with them. They're not so popular with they're not so popular with Thais and other whites. All right, because when you listen to people who were actually half white, half Thai, grow up in Thailand and go to school in Thailand, they'll tell you it's like, yeah, they got a lot of attention because their dad was white, but and these people want to be their friends. But as soon as they go to the house and they see, okay, their dad isn't rich, like they kind of live in the same living condition as them, then they stop fucking with them and they start talking shit about them. Right? Excuse me for cursing, but they stop wanting to be friends with them. They talk bad about them. Right? So now they finding their own tribe. Their own tribe is not with, it might not be with somebody white because, their dad might be from the UK, the dad might be from the Netherlands, their dad might be from America, but their side of the family disown him and disown her because her mother is Thai, because the father had a kid with a Thai woman. So they don't really want to connect with people from their family or anybody who is Caucasian that thinks like them. You see what I'm saying? Um, but also, and I'm not judging everybody on this. I'm just talking about the women. I met some guys that were half white, half Thai. They were cool. They were okay. The women, they're they're okay too, but they could be a demon, right? They could be a real, you know what I'm saying? They could be a top female dog, if you know what I mean. Well, I've seen it, especially like if you're dating them. I have seen it, right? If there's no romantic connection, they're cool, easy to talk to, easy to get along with, especially, somebody like me. I'm not judging off of somebody else being biracial. I don't care. But I've seen how they treat others sometimes, especially in a relationship. And it's kind of like, damn, like it's like, damn, dude, you let her talk to you like that. I've seen this many, many times. I remember one time, this one, I've told this story before. This one girl, she was half Thai, half white, and I think her dad was British. She actually did some time in the UK. She had like a British accent. Now she's going to university in Thailand, and she was very like posh. Well, not fake posh and snobby. Probably because you weren't really getting the attention that you thought you was going to get in the UK. You was probably treated badly, poorly over in the UK. So now it's kind of like I could pretend like I was a somebody from over there and um be aggressive towards everybody else, have like a false sense of importance towards everybody else, you know, in Thailand. And she tried to say something slick to me, and I wasn't having it. And then we had other classes later on. They try to pair us with each other, and I'm like, I'm not working with her. And you could tell her I said it. Hell, I'll tell her myself. I'm not working with you. You're a piece of shit, and I'll never work with you ever. And I let it be known. They try to tell me that she apologized in advance. I'm like, I didn't hear those words coming from her, and I don't care if there was an apology. There's no reason to be like that, right? Just people is just like, well, I gotta, I got the British flag on my jacket, so I can be an asshole towards people, and everybody's just supposed to bow down. And it's like I don't know where people get off thinking they can come at people like that, and that doesn't represent everybody from the UK. The UK is like 50-50, right? You'll meet some friendly people from the UK, you'll meet some assholes from the UK. It's 50-50. I mean, there's assholes everywhere in every culture, but I can't say in general most people who come from the UK are a bunch of assholes. I can never say that. Like I met, they were strange, but I met quite a few people who were cool from the UK. Easy to talk to, easy to get along with. They didn't want to start no problems. There's some people from the UK that I met. It's just they just get off by starting problems with people, right? But you gotta find your tribe. I knew this one guy that I went to school with. He was Nigerian, straight from Nigeria, and but he was raised in Thailand, so he spoke English and Thai. And I didn't like him. I didn't like how he carried himself. I know he was cool with that that half white, half Thai girl that I told you about, whose dad was British, spent some time in the UK. And, they were cool with each other, but he kind of acted like just one big jolly, tap dancing Sambo, and I didn't want to have anything to do with him. Right. That's probably where she got off thinking she could just talk to anybody any kind of way, because he was a tall guy. He was a big guy. He was overweight, tall, big guy, but he had a real high pitched voice. And he seemed like he was just like I guess he wanted to raise the pitch of his voice and be aesthetically big to and always kind of make fun of himself and his blackness towards everybody else, to kind of lower their defenses, to be friends and hang out with other Thais. It was just I couldn't stand to see the sight of that guy every single time. I did not like him. I remember his name too. I did not like him. So, but you know, it's okay to stay away from people. It's okay to kind of cast judgment. I mean, you have to have a good sense of judgment, but to be vocal about it, that's where it's different. You know what I'm saying? If he wanted to be like that, then he could be like that over there, right? Don't bring that around my way. I'm not judging how you want to carry yourself. You do you, right? But to go on the internet or to get on a microphone and to put somebody down because they want to walk a certain way, talk a certain way, carry themselves a certain way, have a sexual preference, or to be some, the biggest anime nerd, right? Here you 6'6", you a black man, and you're so much of an anime nerd. You want to dress in a Pikachu jumper every single day. Yeah, everybody might look at that as strange, but it's like it's a no judgment zone. You're supposed to let that happen. You're not supposed to pull out your camera phone and record them and post it up on TikTok, right? He's not anybody I would want to hang out with, but I'm not going to say anything. It's a no judgment zone. He's not hurting anybody, and don't compare him to me. That's it. That's all I ask. You see what I'm saying? You could do you over there, but don't compare him to me. Whereas like in America, somebody's going to say something and laugh you out the neighborhood, laugh you off the block. You see what I'm saying? But in Thailand, you got to find your tribe. And if you never find your tribe, because there's trial and error, you might be in pursuit of trying to find your tribe, and somebody might, like I said, cast judgment. They might try to steal from you, lie on you. Right? There's a lot of sick people that go in and out of Thailand, where on the exterior, on the surface, they seem like a warm, friendly person. But soon as you leave from there, they're making up all these lies about you, talking behind your back, trying to throw you under the bus for something you didn't do, right? Try to get people to see their point of view about you that's not true, for their amusement and entertainment. I've seen that many times. It's worse than high school in Thailand sometimes. So you got to be aware. That's why I got to the point where I was just like, look, if I'm gonna go through all this, then you can kind of sort of somewhat go through that with the women, because there's plenty of women over there. You know, there's enough people to meet over there that you don't have to be stuck on somebody's craziness, right? Especially coming from other males that can't really do anything for you. You know what I'm saying? Meeting up with some of the weirdest people, the most self-hating people ever. It's there's a lot. There's a lot that people carry with them overseas, and you get to the point where you're just like, nah, I'm good. I'll kick it with myself and the women. That's it. The women, I can give them a pass for being crazy, because naturally women are crazy as hell. You see what I'm saying? But you know, to put yourself around men and to constantly hang around another male who's crazy and weird and self-hating and insecure and backstabbing, to put yourself around somebody like that just because they look like you, damn that. You could hang out with whoever you want to. And if you find a pattern of people you just like, yeah, you know what, I don't want to be friends with this person. You don't have to. Am I still sociable? Yeah, like I acknowledge people when I see them at at work, at school, or whatever. It doesn't mean I have to invite them into my personal life outside of that, right? And guess what? There's people at a language institution or at work that I don't want to talk to, and that's okay too, right? But I always try to keep my circle small, especially, and guess what? Nobody, especially when you have, entrepreneur dreams, nobody's going to push your dream forward more than you, right? Man, that point you mentioned about black men is so true. Brothers out here are so weird. Oh, you in Thailand too? The Diaz Poro Chronicles. You in Thailand? I don't know if this person is still here or not. And it's not just brothers, people of all races are weird in Thailand. You see what I'm saying? But it's like Thailand is one of those places where you can enjoy by yourself. And when you want to be somewhere with those other brothers for, a moment, that's like Pattaya. You go into the club, you go to the club, and it's kind of like, okay, other brothers are here. What's happening? You chopping it up with each other. You in China? What part of China are you in? I don't. I really saw black men in China. I remember, yeah, I used to live in Beijing, and there was one dude. I think he was from New York, but he was like a black Puerto Rican, and he I met him at a language center, and he was weird. He was trying to get me on to that language center. I showed up at the language center trying to get do a demo, doing an interview. They was trying to hire me on, and he saw me. He was just like, I'm gonna make sure you get on. I'm gonna make sure you get on, right, and help you. And I'm doing a few interviews over there. It's not even my main spot. I was just trying to look for a little side gig, and he introduced me to his girl. His girl looked good. But then one night he tried to invite me over to his spot to have dinner. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm down. He goes, all right, meet me at my spot at this time. Right. So as it got closer to that time, I'm like, hey, what's your address? I never received, I never heard from him again. It's like, why the fuck would you invite me over to have dinner and then you block me afterwards, and you don't throw the address, you don't respond anymore, but you invited me. Like, you was gonna do that? Don't invite me. You've been there since 2019. What do you do? You teach English? Chengdu. Let me see this on the map. Where's Chengdu? Oops, my bad. My bad. Chengdu, Sichuan, China. Yeah, see, a lot of these, most people, they only know like Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Chongqing. That's all they know. There's a lot of little small, well, quote unquote, small towns in China, but they're heavily populated. Oh, damn, this is in the middle of China. They're heavily populated. Oh, okay, damn. Some of the housing looks good over here. Yeah, what are you doing in China? What do you do? Do you teach English? Do you go to school? Wow, look at this mall right here. See, these are cities that, I mean, it looks like a megatropolis, and nobody even knows about it. Nobody's even heard about it. Yeah, I teach part time and study accounting online at a U.S. university. Okay, cool. How's the visa process over there? I'm curious. Is it easy? Is it a hassle? I know it's easier than Thailand, but are you on a work visa? Are you on a business visa? You on a tourist visa? What's the visa process like? Hmm, looks interesting. Yeah, it's a big city right here. This looks like one of the same parks that's in the same design as the one in Singapore. I'm working on my qualifications so I can go back to the States for work. Yeah, I'm on a Z visa right now. The visa process was super drawn out. Yeah, yeah, the Z visa is the work permit. Yeah. Shauna makes you jump through a few hoops. Did you have to go to Hong Kong to get that visa? I'm assuming you're a black man, so I'm wondering, are the kids well behaved, and you know, how did the parents take a liking to you? Because uh, there's a lot of parents, they want their kids to learn English, but they don't want them to learn it from a black man. They want them to learn it from a white teacher. So it's like brothers can get work, but when you get hired at these spots, it kind of fucks up their business. Because as soon as they hire you, people take their kids out of a language center like it ain't nothing. They'll take their kids out of a language center and take them somewhere else where there's a white teacher. But yeah, as a matter of fact, I want to show y'all this city that he lives in. I got it up on the screen right now. Chengdu. All right. So this is it. This is where he lived. This is where the brother live at. All right. Look at these houses. Where I used to live at in Taiwan, they had condos in Dam Shui district that had this exact same design right here. Right. I wonder what mall is this. Not at all. When I was in the States, I had to make a few trips to Houston for the visa. Oh, so you from Houston? Oh, okay. Been there since 2019. Hmm. Man, man, man. I wouldn't mind going back to well, I wouldn't mind going back to China, but I know I would have to find something over in China that like, because you can make bank teaching English over in China. You could definitely make bank. You can make 30,000, 40,000 renminbi if you really push. You can make 30, 40 grand. Well, not 40 grand, but 40,000. What is that? Like $4,500 a month. You can make bank in China. You make 40,000 renminbi a month, you can live in the foreigner district. Right, this remind me of Taiwan right here. This is how parts of Shinju look. How are the ladies? See the difference between like teaching in China and Taiwan is that in China you can be a little bit older. You could be a tad bit older and make a living teaching English, but you just got to be a little bit fun. If you're old and you kind of like you could be kind of you could be a person of a certain age. You just got to be a little bit fun. That don't mean you got to jump around and do backflips or anything. You just kind of have to be a little bit fun, right? Whereas like Taiwan, they want like teachers with a youthful look. You know what I'm saying? They want youthful looking teachers. They don't. I don't think I met anybody that was. I don't remember meeting anybody that was that old who was in the teaching field in Taiwan. Taiwan, they kind of want young teachers. The pay was insane during COVID. I heard that. Are you able to get on? If I drop a link, can you get on and talk with us? Do you have time? If not, then I understand. I want to learn more about Chengdu. I want to learn more. Do you have time? Brother, do you have time? Or sister, do you have time? I don't know. They're okay. I've stopped dating them though. My lady is king. Okay, yeah. All right, my bad. Yeah, he male. He's a brother. All right, that's the link right there. So if you click it, join, I'll bring you up. You see, I told you guys over in Taiwan and China, you'll deal with the Chinese women for a minute, but then like after a while, you'll start dating the African women. So in Taiwan, it's women from East Swatini or AKA Swaziland. I was on them Swazi women heavy in Taiwan. Taiwan, they got the East Swatini women were on point. Yeah, if you can join, that'll be great. I want to chop up, like, I want to compare stories a little bit because I used to live in Beijing. And I didn't have to leave Beijing. It's just I received an email from my lawyer, my immigration lawyer in Canada. It was like, hey, your open work permit is about to process. And it was, here we go. What's going on?
Hey, Splash, can
Can
you
you
hear
hear
me?
me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I can
hear
hear
you.
you
Can
now.
you
What's
hear me?
going on?
Hey, nothing much,
I
man.
think
How
there
you
might be a
doing?
delay. I think
Yeah,
there
yeah,
might be a
good stuff.
delay.
Yeah, it's because I'm using a VPN. So
Oh, okay. All right. So Chengdu, what drew you to Chengdu? Right?
mm,
Because you're not going to a university. I'm assuming the university is an American university online, so it's not a university that accepted you over in that city. So what drew you to Chengdu? Most people go to Beijing and Shanghai. What drew you to
mm,
Chengdu?
So actually, my first time living in China was back in 2017. So I
Mhm.
got an opportunity to go to Chongqing actually at first. So I was
Mm,
there for a year doing that, and then what I would do, like on my off days, I would go to Chengdu just to just to hang out, something different. And then I noticed like, damn, like I really like the vibe in Chengdu. It's real laid back. So after I got another job teaching in France, I came back to China and I chose Chengdu. So it was my choice in the beginning. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Most of the good vibes are in cities that aren't the most popular and populated. Even though I could imagine Chengdu has a lot of people living there, most people they want to go to the biggest city in that country, but
Yeah.
those tend to be the more rude, like the rudest people in the country. It's very, very fast paced, like New York City, for example. So, the people don't really apply that mentality when they go to other countries overseas.
Yeah.
Chengdu, how do you, how do they, how are they towards black people over in Chengdu?
So in Chengdu, like I can't say that I've been the victim of any like racial aggression or nothing like that. I think Chinese folks in general are pretty kind of mind their business, right? But like they're not they still don't see black folks as anything to aspire to or nothing like that. They don't, they're not gonna be hostile towards you, but they don't really see you as anything special. So yeah.
Mm. But there was no problem with teaching their kids. They don't mind you teaching their kids over there.
Oh, now when it comes to that, yeah, like because I was a manager at a training center for a while, right? So some of the black teachers that that I had to manage, they would have issues getting demos. They would have issues holding on to classes. So yeah, like they don't necessarily like black folks here. They tolerate us, and they're not going to be hostile. But if they had a preference, they would choose a white person. So
Right, right. I see this still on the same vibe. See, I would try to compare, but I first went to China in 2014.
yeah,
So maybe it's gotten a little bit better over the time, but maybe it's still the same. Who knows?
yeah. I don't think they would change. They're gonna be how they are. It is what it is. I'm not really here to trying to change their minds. Like really now at this point, like I've stopped dating. I've stopped all that stuff. Like I'm just here for my little part-time job that I got, so I can fund my studies. And once that's done, then I'm out of here. So that's about it.
Now, let me ask you this. This is going to be a little bit of a wild question. How do the married women over in China respond to you? Because from my experience, Chinese women, Taiwanese women, especially when they're married, they some of the biggest like. I mean, they eavesdrop and they try to go behind their husband's back sometimes to get with brothers. I've had that a few times. I'm not saying that's common, like that happens all the time, but it's like that does happen. Have you experienced that over there?
I haven't really experienced that. I've had a couple of things happen to me in clubs and stuff. But hey, man, look, to be honest, man, like I'm totally out with this dating scene in China. Like right now, my lady's actually Kenyan. So
Right.
my lady is Kenyan, and we thinking of getting engaged next year. So my mind is so outside this whole Asian dating scene thing. So yeah, I haven't even been out here like that. You
And
know.
she's in Chengdu too.
No, my lady she's in Kenya actually. So like I'm actually going to Kenya in
Oh,
a couple of weeks. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to Kenya.
oh,
So like I go back and forth between China and Africa now these days. Every couple of months I go to Africa. So yeah, that's how it is for me.
oh, okay. Now, h- living in Chengdu, um, how futuristic is the city? Like as far as living there, tell us about the level of convenience, how technology wise, how are they more advanced than what you're seeing in America? What's it like living there?
Way more advanced, man. Way more. Like if you're talking to just about creature comforts and convenience and all that stuff, like Chengdu is it. So you don't even have to leave your house if you want groceries or anything like that. As far as transport, it's cheap. And since you came to China in 2014, like they've
Yeah.
expanded this metro system here in Chengdu by like tenfold. It's incredible. So like the metro map is looking like New York now. Like it's really easy to get around. Uber is cheap. Like living in China has really opened my eyes to the fact of like if you go to different countries, I think Thailand might be the same, but if you go to countries like maybe Cambodia, even out there in Africa and Kenya and different places, you realize how high the cost of living is for what you get in return. But here in China, like transportation, food, everything is really cheap because they make everything here, you know? So this is really
Right.
convenient. Yeah.
Right. You know what? I noticed that like even living in Taiwan, there's similarities, Thailand. It's like, yeah, you deal with the racism. For the most part, yeah, they kind of mind their own, but they're not too fond of you. But
Yeah.
living there, like the lifestyle there, eh, that's just the balance of life, right? The
Yeah.
lifestyle is the best, but it's then again, you're dealing with people in a homogenous society that
Mhm.
wish you didn't even exist.
Yeah. And like to be honest, when I first came to Asia, like back in 2017 to live, I was like on top of the world. I was out at the US, I was trying to date and do all this stuff. And man, I had a really fun time, yeah. But I've noticed like as the years have progressed, now in 2025, like Splash, I don't really be interacting with nobody really. I go to work, I do my job, I save my money, I come home, I study, and I travel to take my trips to Kenya and shit like this when I get the chance. But that's about it, man. Like that whole social scene has really died for me now because I see it for what it is now. So, yeah.
Right, right, right. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier with the title of this video, Finding Your Tribe. It's like people, they naturally want to do that when they get to these places. But after a while, it's kind of like, you know, they go through enough dealing with two-faced people to the point where they just like, man, I'm a hermit. I'm just minding my own. I'm a loner, and
Mhm.
I enjoy what the city has to offer. But at the end of the day, I'm not going out my way to make that many connections with people just to be hanging out.
Yes, exactly. Like actually, like a good example of this, I actually met another brother out here, like maybe 4 years ago in December. And the thing about it, I was a manager at the time. So, he interviewed with me and everything. And I'm thinking, hey, this is another brother from the state. Like, of course I'm gonna put him on. I'm gonna look out for my folks, right? So like I get him past the interview and he comes over. And then like this dude, he starts acting in a way that reflected badly on me, right? That's number one. And
Yeah,
then after that whole thing transpired, it's like the only time that this guy interacts with me or messages me for anything is when he needs to borrow some money from me. You know,
yeah,
it's like, and this is a dude from America, like just like me, Black American guy. Just like the only time he feels the need to interact with me is when he's borrowing some money. You know, and that's just one instance in many to where like I've seen other folks here that I've tried to have some sort of rapport with, and it's always a selfish thing on their end. So like right now in 2025, like I don't care if it's foreigner or local, whatever. I just kind of just do my thing, save my money. I got back in school. I'm just planning for the future and trying to get up out of here, man. That's really just it.
man, that's funny you say that. Like I made a video on Patreon saying, talking just about that. One of the major life lessons that I've learned was, man, stop helping people. It's
Mm,
cool to donate, it's cool to give, but when I give to somebody that I see them doing their thing, they look like me. I just
mhm.
want to be able to give you something without wanting anything in return. I don't give to expect
Yeah.
anything back. Not even good karma. I don't believe in good karma. It's just, here you go. I see you doing your thing. I'm supporting. But
Yeah.
helping somebody, I stopped doing that. I I
Hey.
I, I just can't do that no more.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially like that's my mindset now. But before, back in those days, it was during COVID and everything. It was jobs were kind of scarce for folks, and I knew the situation for us here in China, right, during that time, especially. So I'm trying to look out for folks that look like me. And then so when folks come to ask me for help, I still had that need of trying to help the community. But now, no, like I'm just looking out for myself and my lady. That's just about it. And I'm not really concerned about nothing else out here.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Exactly. And then when you help somebody, and in this situation, you helped somebody and then they was up under you. They was kind of around you every single
yeah,
time you went to work. That is the
yeah,
worst. They don't try to kick back a favor for you. They don't try to show a certain level of excellence to be like, okay, I'm representing him. Let
mm,
me put on for the both of us. They don't do
yeah,
that. It's kind of
no,
like there's a certain level of resentment. So
mm,
they mess up on purpose.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like because like they're not just representing foreigners. Like if they're black, like what they do kind of reflects on you. So like I try my best to really set a good example here. And this dude, he came in there just messing everything up. It was so embarrassing, man. So, you know, that's how I feel about it now, man. Like I'm not really helping anybody here, really. Like just helping my lady and just focusing on trying to get back out there and do what I have to do. Because yeah, China, yes, it's cool for the money. Don't get me wrong. Like during COVID, we were making like I think we were making close to 4K a month, just doing easy stuff, man.
Hmm.
Easy stuff. It was so easy. Like I would like personally, I was making like 36,000 RMB a month, just doing easy stuff, you know. So uh the incentive to leave wasn't like, oh man, I need to go back to the States. I was like, hey, let me just stay here and just keep making this easy money, right? And it was cool for a bit, but now I've seen it for what it is. I'm like, yo, I think Asia for me personally is done. Like I don't care if it's Thailand, Cambodia, whatever, I'm done. So
After a while, people just gonna always feel like that no matter where they at. You're
yeah,
just kind of done with everything. You're just coasting at that moment in time.
yeah.
At one point in time, I'm sure you said that about America. So,
Mm, yeah,
if
yeah.
you just get to a point of content, or just a point of repetitiveness to
Yeah.
where you want excitement, and a lot of people think, okay, this part of the world is just more exciting, when in actuality is you want the way their lifestyle is, you want the lifestyle to switch, not
Right.
so much the people. It's kind of like I
Mm,
want how the lifestyle is over in Chengdu to reflect in America, and it doesn't. You know,
yeah. Yeah.
but even then, if the lifestyle were to switch
Mhm,
and reflect that of a place like Chengdu,
mhm.
brothers would still be complaining. Well, I wouldn't say complaining. Brothers would still get to the point of saying that, well, man, I'm done with America.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like there's nowhere you're gonna go around the world
Mhm.
now that everybody has a phone where it's
Yeah.
just some passport bro utopia. Those
It's
days are
it's
gone.
yeah, it's really not. It's really not. And like to be honest, that whole passport bro thing, like because personally, me, like I've been traveling since I was like young. So this isn't my first time being abroad, living abroad. So it's like that whole passport bro thing, I think I don't want to say it's bad marketing, but I think it's given brothers who travel a pretty bad rap. Um, yeah, that's just how I see it. Because even if I go out to Kenya, they kind of put that passport bro stuff on me.
Well, I mean, that's just people talking. Like I don't even pay any attention when people try to say they try to shine a negative light on passport bros, because
Yeah,
I don't think Americans do a good job at shining a negative light on foreigners who come from foreign countries over to America and look what they're doing. Right?
yeah, yeah.
I saw a documentary the other day on the Ghost Shadows gang, the Asian Ghost Shadows gang in New York. You
Yeah.
got Asians that came over there who started up a gang, shooting people, selling drugs, doing
Right.
everything negative under the sun
Yeah.
when they come over here. What if we went over to their countries and started a gang called the Black Shadows and was doing the same thing as them, right?
Man.
It would get more negative media press, but it's they're doing the same thing. They're doing worse. People
Mm,
come over like there's another thing going around on I saw it on Instagram.
yeah.
There's some I think he's Filipino or Cambodia. I don't know what he is, but he's Asian.
Mm,
From Stockton, California.
yeah.
And I guess he was at somebody's birthday party. It was their kid's birthday party. He was so happened to be there, but there's
Mm,
people in the city looking for him, trying to kill him. So they show up to the birthday party trying to shoot him. They ended up killing 3 kids. That's been going on in the media around here. But these guys
yeah.
are like they're Filipino, they're Cambodian or Lao, whatever. These are Asian
Yeah.
gangs that are over there. So they're
Yeah.
doing a lot worse than you going over there trying to find
Mm,
love or trying to find
yeah.
companionship.
Yeah. Yeah. Like like all these negative aspects of these other communities aren't really broadcast as much as stuff with us back home. That's one thing that I have noticed, because like once you start living abroad, you see things for what they are. You see the good, you see the bad, you see the stuff in the middle. So like it's just not really broadcast that much. But I will say though, like just living in Asia in general is really it's opened my eyes to the fact that like truly no place really is perfect. You're gonna have stuff in every country, be it Kenya, Thailand, Cambodia, wherever. So I think
Mhm.
now that I've been here for so long, I'm just like, look, I've seen it, and China's been cool. I've experienced some stuff, but I think if I'm gonna be anywhere, like honestly, just on paper, the best place for me to be is the place that I'm a citizen of. Because at least I can work without a visa. At least I can go do whatever I need to
Yeah.
do without doing a whole bunch of paperwork. So it's giving me an appreciation of America, right? So
Yeah, a lot of people come to that realization, when they
yeah.
when they travel overseas. When do you graduate?
So I graduate May 2027. So yeah,
Okay, so
like
you got about what, a year and a half left?
a year and a half. Yep. So like according to the system, I'm like 75% done with the accounting degree. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully you find something when you come over, because after you graduate, because it seems like they're trying to give those jobs, those accounting degrees, they're trying to give those positions to these AI robots over here. They make it seem like they don't need accountants anymore. So
That's
eventually,
crazy.
I
Yeah.
believe in like 2030, they're going to eventually put everybody on UBI. But I'm hearing talks of like 12,000 a year. I'm like, that ain't no money.
That's not
and
that's
I'm
nothing.
wondering, and I'm wondering if you receive a UBI, would you be allowed to live anywhere in the world if you receive
Yeah.
UBI? If that's the case, then you're going to see a lot of people moving abroad. And so
Yeah.
then what that's going to do, that's going to turn the world into like a one borderless country if that happens.
Yeah, that's a crazy thought right there. I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
UBI, if you're traveling overseas, that's crazy.
Yep.
Dang.
Because
Okay.
some people, they're going to take their check, they're going to go to Brazil. Some are going to go to
Yeah.
Colombia. Some might go to Mexico. Some might go to Africa. They might go
Yeah.
to Chengdu. They might go to Taiwan. So it's just going to be, 300 million plus, possibly just spread out all over the world.
That's insane. But it's like the thing with the AI though, because before I even signed up for this program that I'm doing now, I was looking at the different things that I could study and what to get into back home. And it was like, now that this AI has really picked up steam, like what can you really get into, really, besides tech and maybe a handful of other things?
You can't
I'm
get
like,
in
damn,
tech. You can't
everything's
get in
getting
tech.
eaten up by AI.
Yeah. Because whatever it is that you're doing, like, not, I'm not saying you, but in general, like if somebody's in tech, what are they going to be like, a an ethical hacker. They don't need you for an ethical
Mm,
hacker. They got
yeah,
AI to do that. That's like surface level tech stuff right there. They need creators and innovators, and that's a very, very small percentage of people. They
yes.
need geniuses to move technology forward. So the only thing you can really get into over here is blue collar work. That's what they really need.
That's crazy because like even with accounting, the shift in accounting now is that you people are learning these tech skills, so data analysis and stuff like that. So that's the trend right now. So yeah, I'm studying accounting, but low key I have to study stuff like data analysis and statistics and kind of learn some of these languages, you know. So it's kind of shifting into tech anyway, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
But damn,
machine learning. Yeah,
right.
yeah, I know what you're talking about, man. But the only open available work really is
Mm,
like blue collar stuff, like electrician, trucking, construction, uh, uh, um, you know, what do you call that? Crane operator and stuff like that, working on the oil field and
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Damn.
yeah. But
Wow.
I mean, you have more an advantage. You know, us as men, God gave us strength, so you have that advantage over women. Women ain't gonna go out there and do it.
Mm,
There's so many
yeah.
women getting laid off, and these were the same women that were saying they strong, independent, they don't need you. But
Mm,
they're not gonna roll up their sleeve and swing a sledgehammer.
yeah. Yeah.
So
That's, hey,
yeah,
but think
that's go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was saying like just to add on to your point though, like in terms of the AI and universal basic income and everything, when do you think that will really hit Thailand and affect it in that huge way?
What do you mean affect Thailand?
Like for example, right now, I guess people in Thailand are working those blue collar jobs like you mentioned, right? And I'm guessing in Thailand, it's not really like what am I trying to say? Like in the States, a lot of people are going for these professional jobs, right? In tech and finance and stuff like that. Like, do you think the AI revolution will hit Thailand in the same way that it's hitting the US?
No, they're gonna have to work. They're gonna have to work. See, we have an economy, we have an economic system that could support, and we have a Federal Reserve that can support.
Mm,
I mean, we already have damn near basically a form of UBI with SNAP and
mm,
other benefits that other people are receiving. Like, look at all the red Native Americans who are, they're
yeah.
receiving some form of UBI. You got other racial groups that are receiving a form of UBI. So now, working is going to be optional for almost everybody. But look who they voted in. It's already
Mm,
starting now.
damn.
Mandani, the New York City mayor, he was trying
Yeah.
to freeze rent, and give free public transportation, and they voted him in. This is starting now. The majority of the people that voted for him were Zennials. When you present freezing rent to New York City residents, what you think they're gonna do?
They
Rent
gonna
is
vote.
insanely high over there. Yeah, I can live
Yeah.
here without paying rent and make my money. Yeah, they're gonna vote him in. It just started. So
Wow.
I believe I believe UBI will be implemented in 2030. So in four
Mm,
years, you only got 4 years to get the bag. After that, it's a wrap.
man,
Socialism is
that
going to be full effect, and they're going to start making changes in 2026. That's when you're going to start seeing a deflation, not an inflation. You're going to start seeing a deflation because I believe America, they're going to invade Venezuela. They're going to take that
mm,
oil, convert it into US petrodollars, and then that's going to thwart BRICS. That's going to shut BRICS all the way down. So Russia, China, what was it, India trying to form an alliance,
mm.
that's done and over with. As soon as they invade
God.
Venezuela, So you're going to start seeing oil prices go down, deflation, everything but food. They're going to start giving longer home loans.
Yeah.
I think what did Trump say? He was trying to implement a 50-year loan term
Oh
for
shit.
for buying houses. For people
Yeah.
who want to become homeowners.
Yeah.
You're going to have to. Why? Because UBI, it's not going to make everybody. People aren't. They're not going to pay you a six-figure salary on UBI. So
Yeah.
we can't have these houses and put people on 30-year on a 30-year term, and
Yeah.
we have robots taking over everybody's job or laying everybody off.
Mhm.
They're not going to be able to afford it. So I don't know how they're going to piece this together, but
Yeah.
you're going to start seeing a deflation in 2026, but UBI, it's going to start in 2030. But really, for America's going to do it.
Who's gonna lead the charge? Wow, man, that's a lot to think about. Damn.
Because
Okay.
when does Trump get out of office? In 2028, 2029,
28. Yeah. Yeah.
2028, 2028. That election cycle, they're going to vote in a Democrat. They're going to vote
Mm.
in a socialist Democrat. And he's going to, whoever that person is, they are going to steamroll socialism at its finest.
Mm.
So they're going to bring everybody to an equal playing field. And that's going to prevent you, somebody who has more of a work ethic than the
Mm.
next man, or family members, people that you grew up with. Y'all going to be on the
Yeah.
same equal playing field now. Everybody's going to be equal now. It's going to be harder for you to get to the money now. That's going to change everything. But
Wow.
when you accept socialism, look
Mhm.
what happened to the SNAP benefit program. Look what happened to this welfare program. It damn near shut down in the month of November. People almost didn't even have a Thanksgiving. Why?
Oh man.
Because the government couldn't make up their mind. So when you accept socialism and you receiving checks, the government could be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, we haven't really came to an agreement on this bill, so you're not going to
Oh,
get your UBI this month, next month, this month."
why? This is all dependent on the government.
Right?
Damn.
And whatever you acquire,
Mhm.
right? Because they're trying to tax the shit out of the rich. So that means
Mhm.
if you beat the odds on UBI and
Mhm.
somehow you become rich, or you get to the bag while you're on UBI, the government could take it from you, or a good portion
Yo.
from you, because it needs to go back to the system.
Yo.
That's what socialism
Yo.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo. Oh shit.
So that's what I'm
Ah.
saying. I'm like, well, and I don't know this to be sure.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if what I'm about to say is to be true or not, but
Certainly.
I'm curious, because I do think they're going to implement UBI in 2030. But I'm curious, if you accept UBI, do you
Yeah.
have to give up your weapons? Do you have to forfeit your weapons? Do you have to
Right.
become sterile, like, or infertile?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's a depopulation going on now. Like, people just aren't having kids and wanting relationships now. I think that's all social engineering, is by design. But let's say people want to have kids. Like, if you accept UBI, can you have kids? Look at China. At one point in time, they had a one child policy rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were people who was like, it don't matter, no matter what, you cannot have two kids. Are they going to implement that?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Man,
what you're
yeah, that's a
seeing in
lot.
China at one point in time, now, those politics and that mindset, that way of living, seem like it's making its way. They're adopting some of those traditions and laws and mindset over to
Mhm.
America. That's what I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
You're just not going to
Man.
receive UBI and stay at home and create 5 or 6 kids
Yeah,
while you're at home.
it's like you're gonna have to give up something in return for that UBI, and we don't know what that is yet.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
what I'm wondering.
Damn, man, that's a lot to think about right there.
Yeah,
So you said we probably only got 4 years, 4 or 5 years to get the bag. Dang.
yeah. And then on top of that, how does UBI work? I'm pretty sure all you got to do is be a citizen, but if you've been living outside of the country long enough,
Yeah.
they might look at your tax returns like, hey, you haven't filed taxes since 2017. Where you been at?
Yeah.
You have to have a tax return in the last 3 years in order to receive UBI. I don't know if they'll say that or
Mhm.
not.
Right.
So,
Man.
you know, I'm curious to see what's going to happen because, if they let people get UBI, forget about it, man. Forget about it. Like if they let people travel on UBI or live abroad on UBI, forget about it. These
Yeah, yeah.
countries, it ain't going to be the same anymore. On the grand scheme of things, people might say, hey, it's going to boost the economy over here too. But
Mhm.
it's that whole passport bro thing. It'll
Mhm.
just be one big borderless country. That's it.
Man, that's gonna be complete chaos, man. Oh my God. That's gonna be pandemonium, dude.
Yep.
Yo, hopefully it don't get to that point. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point and we can kind of stave off the UBI for some time. Like I know it's gonna come eventually. It's gonna come eventually, but man, like what you just explained is not cool at all. Yo,
Hey, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen whether we like it or not. Because it's already happening now. They just voted. See, New York City. That's why there was so many eyes on that New York City mayor vote,
mm,
right?
mm,
And
damn,
there's another reason why they voted in. I'm not gonna say that part on here
mm,
because there was some. I watched a couple of his debates and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, because
yeah,
they asked him like if you could go anywhere, if you could visit anywhere or in the world during your run as mayor, where would you go? Everybody said I would go to Israel and pay homage and respect over there. Everybody said Israel, but man, Donnie, he was like, man, I'm not going nowhere. I'm staying right here,
mm,
and I got a city to run. I'm gonna stay right
yeah,
here and fight for my people here. And I
yeah.
think that's why a lot of Zennials like took a liking to him, but it could have been a script. You know what I'm saying? I
True.
think when people get appointed, it's it was set in stone already. Everybody's just kind of playing their role and reading the script because they know who's going to win and who's not going to win. That's what I believe in. But when I heard we freezing rent and city bus rides and subway rides are going to be free, and they
Yeah.
voted him in, I was like, okay.
Oh my God, yo. Wow. Man, okay. Okay.
Yep.
So we got to get ready. Man.
So New York, it's starting with New York. Then it's gonna be L.A. It's gonna be
Mm,
somewhere in Cali, like the Bay, L.A. You know,
yeah.
Oakland or L.A. somewhere. Then Chicago.
Yeah.
Then it's gonna be a trend all throughout, and you're gonna start seeing more of this in the next 2 years, right?
Mm,
These mayors, you know, these Democratic socialist mayors getting voted in, and boom, boom,
so,
they're gonna vote in a president. So it doesn't matter how conservative. See now they think, okay, Republicans got the House. Is you know, you know, it's more conservative now. People might like what's going on now, but the next election cycle doesn't matter who you vote for. I think it's going to be a Democrat. It's going to be a Democrat, socialist, and bam,
man.
they're going to introduce uh they're going to introduce UBI, and the majority of the voters you're going to see in this next election cycle, it's going to
Mhm.
be mainly women. Women are going to
Mhm.
put this next president in the White House. It's going to be Zennial women. It's going to be the largest voter turnout amongst young women throughout history. They're going to say this is going to break a record. I already know it.
Man,
And what
man.
are they going to push? They're going to push freezing rent, free, 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 UBI. Why? Because women, look at where women are now. Their
Yeah,
jobs, it's look at the job. They're the ones that are being laid off. See, I said
yeah,
blue collar men, man, roll your sleeves up, get out there if you want some money. It's there, right?
yeah,
Women aren't going to do it.
yeah,
So what are women going to say? Nah, that's not fair. We need to change the rules. We're women. We don't need to go out there and
mhm,
do construction and work a track hole operator, an excavator, anything like that. No,
yeah,
we need some kickbacks. You got all this UBIs, or no, you got all these robots or whatever that took away our jobs. We need
yeah.
UBI, and that's exactly what the next president is going to do.
Yo, yeah, because they have an incentive to do that.
Hmm.
Dang. Yeah. Hey, well, hey, Splash, man, it was nice chopping it up with you, man. It was good insight. Good insight. It's a lot to think about.
Man, nice talking with you too. And I appreciate you dropping game on Chengdu. I might have to, if anything ever comes about to where I feel like I need to leave again, then you know I still got my mind on China. I used to live there. I know how it is. So
Yeah, China will be the spot,
yeah,
man.
yep,
All
absolutely.
right, all right, Splash. You take care.
All right, you too. Peace.
All right.
All right, so that was our brother, the DS Porter Chronicles. Okay, I appreciate him for coming up, giving us insight on China. Seem like things, you know, the mindset hasn't changed that much, but the lifestyle has improved dramatically over there. Pretty much the same thing like how Taiwan was. Taiwan was just China, one of those places where if you got to go there and to make the money, and you can get a bag in China just teaching English. It's one of the higher paying regions for English teachers. I think that's going to be automated soon, right? They won't need humans to teach English. It's going to be robots teaching English. But if you're getting the bag now teaching English in China, man, the best thing to do is get your money over there and then, you know, travel to Thailand when you have time, travel to Thailand during Chinese New Year, right? Travel to Thailand when, you know, to be around other women. All right. And there's women in China too. There's a lot of women on brothers in China. You just got to be careful, right? Hey, man, this has been another dope live stream. How to move in Thailand, part 4, finding your tribe. The next video I'm going to do, we're going to talk about dating in Thailand, dating and relationships in Thailand, how to move in Thailand, dating and relationships. Okay. It's different for men and women. I think that's going to get the most views. That's going to get the most eyes in this series. All right. But I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm over and I'm out. Peace.